All right, here we are at round 8 of the Las Vegas Open, the longest Dropzone tournament in the history of Dropzone Commander. We're a little loopy. I just drank an entire Rockstar, so I'll do my best to keep the camera steady, but it might be a little jittery. No promises there. In terms of the tournament standings, we're both tied on 78 points in 3rd place. By the way, this is Martin. Martin's the local here in Vegas, came over for the tournament. Looking at the other tables, we have Randy, who's in last place, playing Chris, who is in 2nd place. The top 2 are not playing because they just played in the last round and because Chris has not been matched up against Randy yet, so they needed to make sure they got at least one game in. Chris has 81 points. Scott here is on 86 points. He's in 1st place, and he's playing Rich, who is at 75 points. So that's sort of where we are. That's sort of where we are in the overall tournament standings, and I can give an update at the end of the mission for the final results. But anyway, back to our game. We are playing a regular old Recon mission. So nothing special about this one, just playing Recon. You know, intel is 1 point. We're using the new tournament rules, so if you find an objective, it now becomes an objective, but you don't get the intel. So it's just a little less of a bonus and a little less luck dependent for how that works. Again, just for time constraints, we're probably not going to go over the army lists. We'll just get started, but I think that's about it. Start at turn 1, Martin wins initiative, and neither one of us plays any card.
So first activation is a warrior clan. 2 havens moved on from the edge of the board, each depositing a squad to these 2 buildings.
All right, activated my armor group, brought the Phobos in here, they disembarked, have good field of fire, and the Hades came in the flank, and they stayed inside their dropzone.
All right, second activation was the other warrior clan. Both of them moved in with spirits and embarked. Are you looking for a demo game? Into these 2 buildings.
All right, activated my infantry group, moved the infantry into the little building here, and I moved the Helios up here and kept them inside the Neptune.
So third activation was Court of Elders. Coyote moved in from the edge of the table. Eden Gate moved in from the edge, deployed a Haven Gate, and then Firstborn came in through the Haven Gate into the building, and the Yari also moved in on the edge, or from the edge of the table.
All right, scout group moved the Mercury drones up. The Sirens both got out here in these spots and did not get out.
So first Warfist activated, Kaiman moved on from the edge, fired 2 laser pods at the building, did a point of damage, fired the main guns at the Phobos, did a point of damage. The Fire Drake came in, shot the disruption cannon at the Phobos, and failed to do anything.
All right, activated my heavy group, disembarked the Hades this turn. The Poseidon shot that building and did 1 damage with no falling masonry.
So next activation is Warfist. 2 Jaguars came onto the table, shot their railguns across the table at a building, did 3 points of damage, and then the Dream Snare came in alongside them and looked pretty.
All right, activated my command group. I deployed them pretty far back with a firing lane through there. The Neptune shot the building, did 1 more damage, no falling masonry.
So last activation of turn 1 is the Sword Point. Gaia moved in, 2 Tarantulas embarked or disembarked, and then Eden Gate moved in all the way up against the building there. Start of turn 2,
Martin won the roll-off. I played a field repair on the damaged Phobos, so it's good now, and he didn't play any cards, so that's it.
First activation is Warrior Clan that were into these 2 buildings. The one on this side just found a piece of intel, dematerialized through the Haven Gate behind it. The one in this building actually found a trap. They ended up doing 4 damage to the building, no falling masonry. They dematerialized through the Haven, and the Haven moved out for the side.
All right, activated my armor group. I played a countermeasure hack, got 2 Phobos firing into the Fire Drake there. I got 4 hits through his passive save, but only did 1 damage, which was really unfortunate. Then I took my anti-air group, moved them, and deployed them in this little alley here. And the Neptunes both fired at the building and did a point of damage, no falling masonry.
So next activation, Warfist with the Kaiman. Kaiman moved across from behind the building, fired at a Helios with the main gun and destroyed it, fired the 2 laser pods at a building in the back and did a point of damage. Then the Fire Drake shot first at a Phobos, hit and failed to wound, and then retreated because he's a chicken.
Activated my scout group. Drones just moved up a bit over here, and the Sirens both disembarked into the middle buildings.
All right, activated the Court of Elders. Firstborn were in this building, found a piece of intel, left that building and entered the building with the Sirens.
This is legal because the buildings are less than 3 inches apart, so they do a 2-inch abandon of the building. They're not allowed to move anymore, but it has been FAQ'd that an embark does not count as a move, so as long as they are within an inch of another building, they can get back in. That's how we ruled it. I think that's correct, but yeah.
The haven that was behind their building just moved over here. It's full 9 inches.
And the
coyote, the Yari moved up, only moved 6 inches so they can react to fire. The coyote moved up and put 2 shots into the building with the sirens prior to the firstborn entering. It did a point of damage with no falling masonry.
Activated the Hades, shot the miniguns at that building, did 2 damage, I think, and shot the tail cannon at the commander, did 2 points of damage over there. And the Poseidon shot the building, didn't do anything.
So second warrior clan activated from these 2 buildings. Both of them found pieces of intel. They both jumped in, dematerialized from the spirits. The spirits moved to the building the sirens are occupying, and all 4 bases of Braves materialized into that building.
Alright, I sort of screwed up deployment with my command. I had positioned them here earlier because I was going to use a countermeasure hack to shoot some of his walkers back there, but I ended up spending the countermeasure hack on the Fire Drake, which I don't regret, but I should have planned ahead and known that the command weren't going to use the card because the Phobos were. So now I've got to reposition the command, and I would put them there, but I can't fit the landing zone there. This is all clogged up, so I just had to embark them into their transport and move 8 inches. And then I'll disembark next turn, and then on turn 4 they'll shoot. So that's a bit unfortunate. Messed that one up.
Sword point activated. Tarantulas just moved forward a little bit. They didn't have shots on anything or range. And then the Gaia Gate moved its full distance over to the flank.
Alright, activated my infantry group. The AA moved up here, disembarked the Helios right there, and the infantry group rolled this, just found a regular intel, and moved over, and gotten that damage building.
So last activation of turn 2 was the Warfist. The 2 Jaguars moved forward, fired their railguns into the building with the Immortals, did a couple points of damage.
5 damage and 2 damage to the Immortal base.
The Dream Snare just moved up alongside them, and then the 2 Eden Gates on my right flank moved behind a building to hide from the Helios anti-aircraft.
Start of turn 3, I won the roll-off. I didn't play any cards. Martin played an underground monorail connecting that building with that building. Alright, activated my infantry group. They rolled here, rolled a 6, so they have an objective, which is indicated by this upside-down intel marker. And they were able to just squeeze in there, get into the building here. And the Helios activated, blew up both his spirits there. And then the Neptune went around here, fired at that building across the board, and did 1 damage.
Court of Elders activated. The Coyote shot at the building with the Immortals. Did 3 damage to the building and 2 falling masonry. The firstborn are in a CQB, so they are not doing anything in this building here. And then the Yari moved up 6 inches, shot at the Neptune that's hiding, and did 1 point of damage on them.
Activated my AA group, had my last Helios here shoot at the Haven, and those things are tough to kill. I didn't roll that well, and their armor's 7, so I have to hurt them on 6s, and they have 2 wounds, right?
2 wounds. He did pass 2 of his passive saves.
Still really hard to kill. Neptune just shot that building. The Phobos played a experimental gyros card, got some extra movement to get over here, but didn't really have any good targets, and the dropship just went near them.
So Warfist activated, the Kaiman moved out, fired everything at the hidden Helios, needed 6s to hit and missed with everything because he skimmed and his hull down. The Fire Drake operated as an auxiliary gate this turn and gated out.
Back there behind that building.
Yeah, the Haven back there. The Haven that was behind this building here moved and gated out through the Eden Gate. And then the Haven that was over here moved and gated out through the Gaia that is now at the deck to hide from the Helios.
Alright, I activated my Hades, fired 3 tail cannon shots at the Jaguar, did 2 damage. Fired the Black Nanomachines, actually had range to hit these Yaris over here. Killed 2 of them. They were really hard to hit, but I scattered and still hit the template for 2 of them and killed them. And fired the miniguns into here and did 2 points of damage to that building.
Second Warfist activated, Eden Gate over here, went to the deck and moved behind that building. And then the Jaguars moved over, fired their railguns at the building that contains the Immortals, did a little bit of damage to the building, and ended up killing 3 Immortals with falling masonry, which took out 1 of the bases. And then the Dream Snare moved in front of the Coyote.
Alright, I activated my command group, they went and redeployed over here.
So my next activation was the dematerialized warrior clan who stayed dematerialized because there were no available gates for them to come in.
All right, I activated my scout group. The drones moved up. Oh, we've actually forgot to roll for the intel, so we'll have to do that on my turn. But this fight, he still got a slight advantage. I played a stand firm card, but even then, I rolled below average on my attack and my defense. Lost 3 sirens. He only lost 2 firstborn, so he's winning that fight. And then over here, I rolled pretty darn well. I killed 9 guys. He killed 3 sirens back. He played a augmented strength on them, but I'm still have a lead. But he made both his 42 checks there. And the intel rolls were just both regular intels. So.
All right, final activation is sword point. Tarantulas moved over here to the flank and fired both laser pods and gravity guns at the Helios closest to them. Laser pods both missed, gravity guns both hit. Cameron played white nanomachines from his commander who's behind them. Gave him a passive save, and he rolled double sixes.
Double sixes. Very, very clutch. Started turn 4. I won the initiative roll-off. I played adaptive camouflage on those skimmers there. He played false diplomacy on me, so I have to do this annoying thing whenever I activate a battle group. All right, I made my false diplomacy roll. I activated my infantry. They got the objective out of there. They rolled a regular intel, so it's just a normal thing. And I'm not risking them. They're too damaged. I don't want to risk them getting in this building and getting shot up because I don't want them to die and leave the objective there. So they're running off the board with the objective.
So yeah, that's all the things on there.
Oh yeah. And then the Helios over here moved across, shot that lead tarantula, did 1 damage on it. And then the Neptune went around here, shot the Yari, got a little bit lucky, and killed.
So dematerialized warrior clan activated with the Gaia and 2 havens. The Gaia moved his 7 inches, still at the deck. Deployed the 2 havens. Cameron drive hacked one of them, so it could not move after it deployed.
And I used the new version of the card, so I had to roll a 4 up.
The other one continued on and put 1 squad of Braves into the building to support the CQB next turn.
Activated my command group, went sideways a bit. They had good shots at the tarantulas, but he made 2 passive saves, and I rolled a miss, and I did no damage to them. And then this Neptune here took a shot at the Haven, hit it, but didn't do any damage.
So Warfist activated with the Kaiman. The Kaiman moved, fired everything into the Helios, who's no longer hull down, but he did skim after his last activation and missed with everything. Then the Fire Drake moved down behind the building, fired the Disruption Cannon at the Hades, hit. Cameron played white nanomachines and got a 5-up passive and passed the 5-up passive.
Lucky. All right, activated the Hades, shot the chain guns into this building since I realized if he's going to deploy into one of these, this one has fewer damage points remaining, so I might as well start shooting it. Did a couple damage. Fired the black nanomachines over the top of the building at this Haven here. I had a spotter from the Mercury drone through that gap and managed to kill it, rolled a double damage, and then fired the tail cannon at the Jaguar that used to be there, and even with the Dream Snare, I managed to kill that too.
Sword point activated, tarantulas both moved up, fired laser pods at the Helios that's not hidden, failed to do anything, and then both gravity guns fired at the Odin, hit. Odin passed 1 passive save, and then the other roll failed to wound out of 2.
Alright, activated my anti-aircraft group. Phobos walked over here, shot the Gaia. Again, they're having a bad game. They only did 1 damage to it. The dropship fired the Tarantula, failed to do any damage. This Helios moved all the way across the street here and couldn't quite hit his Eden, so I just shot the building, did 2 points of damage to it, and then the dropship shot the building and did 1 damage to it.
So Warfist activated, the Dream Snare moved, and the Jaguar shot first, but the Hades was out of range, and then he moved.
Alright, I moved my drones up, activated my scout group. We're having these really, really tight close combats. I've got 1 siren left here, he's got 2 firstborn, so he has a slight advantage in that fight still. I've got 2 sirens left. I wiped out 1 squad of Braves, the other one failed fortitude and ran, and they had nowhere to go in the gate because that had already been used twice, so they're just sitting on the ground there, and then the new Braves are coming in next turn.
Last activation of turn 4 is the Court of Elders. The Coyote moved because he didn't have any shots, and the first one were involved in the CQB, so they're done.
Started turn 5, I won the roll-off, and neither one of us played any cards. Alright, activated my armor group. These Phobos just repositioned slightly and shot at his Gaia, actually managed to blow it up, so the Gaia's gone. This guy was really hoping he could hit that Eden because that would help a little more just in case he finds an objective neck on turn 6. But I couldn't quite get line of sight, so I blew up this Eden instead. That Eden's dead. This guy shot the building, did nothing. And this Neptune shot the Tarantula and also did. All right, to start things off, I played a quick thinking, but he espionaged it, so that didn't work.
So the sword point is what activated the 2 Tarantulas. They decided to shoot and then move. Laser pods at the Helios here didn't do anything. Gravity guns, 1 hit the Odin, and the Odin passed his 5-up passive, and then the Tarantulas moved behind the building for cover.
All right, activated my scout group, and there's a reason for that, which will be apparent hopefully later. Moved my drones up. These 2 went to the deck, and we fought the 2 CQBs, and they just died. They died too, but they managed to hurt 2 Braves.
So Warrior Clan that was not involved in the CQB, the lone guy who had fallen out of this building, activated with the Haven that was next to there. The Brave dematerialized, and the Haven moved behind the Tarantulas.
All right, I activated my Hades, moved over here, fired all the miniguns at this building, managed to get 1 Brave, which removed a base, which will help with kill points. Fired the black nanomachines in here and finished off that wounded Tarantula, and fired the tail cannon into the Jaguar, did 2 damage to that lead Jaguar, and then the Poseidon's over here, just moving around the edge.
So Warrior Clan activated, the one that was involved in the CQB, the guys in the building can't do anything. The ones that were dematerialized activated with a Eden Gate and a Haven Gate to enter this building here. Also played a call for extraction card to attempt to repair a spirit, but that card was espionaged.
Cool. So I activated my infantry group. This Triton got off the board, and the skimmers went over here and blew up his Tarantula, and I shot the Haven and did nothing with the Neptune.
So Warfist activated, Dream Snare just moved up behind the building a little bit more. The Jaguar decided to shoot and move. The little drone was not in range of the AA, so he only shot the 2 railguns at the Hades and did 2 damage to it, and then he moved behind the Dream Snare.
Activated the command group. They moved up, shot their railguns at this building here to try to kill them.
They shot at the firstborn building.
Oh, sorry, they shot this building. Yeah, 4 damage to the building, no falling masonry, and then the transport shot the Haven and did no damage.
So Port of Elders activated. The Coyote back here decided to shoot and move, had range to the Hades, shot it, and ended up doing 4 points of damage.
Double sixes.
Double sixes on the damage. And the firstborn were involved in CQB, so they're stuck in that building. So last activation of turn 5 was the Warfist.
Yep.
Sorry, Fire Drake decided to shoot at the Hades and failed to wound. And then the Kaiman just moved to 6 inches, does not have line of sight on the Helios.
Turn 6, Martin won the initiative roll-off, and nobody played any cards.
So Warrior Clan activated with a piece of intel. It turned out to just be a piece of intel. They dematerialized through the Haven, and the Haven dematerialized through the Eden Gate.
Activated my Hades, hit it behind the building, repaired it for 1 damage point, shot 1 Gatling and the tail at the thing and did like 1 damage, or 2 damage, but no falling masonry.
So Court of Elders activated with the Haven Gate that was here.
I played a black nanomachines on it, did 1 damage.
Then he proceeded to move all the way around behind the building. The Coyote just moved up behind the building, and the firstborn are still just sitting here.
Activated my anti-air group. Helios went over here and hid, shot all its shots at this building, managed to actually kill the rest of the firstborn. Phobos shot here, rolled really well on this, shot this building, killed 2 Braves, and then the dropship here fired the building.
So Warfist activated with the Kaiman. Kaiman moved up, had a hold down shot on the Hades, managed to hit him twice and put 1 point of damage on him. And then the Fire Drake had no viable targets, so he just moved behind the building.
Activated my infantry group, infantry off the table. They're not trying to come back on. I didn't even bother rolling reserves. They shot the building, managed to damage it some more, and kill that last stand of Braves. And the dropship went hit. All right, there's no more relevant activations, so we decided to call it. Going to the scores, I had 4 intel and an objective off the board. He had 5 intel, a couple intels still on the board over here. There were 3, so I had a 1 victory point win, and then I actually had a huge kill point advantage. I had a plus 467 differential, and that was enough to get me 3 extra points for kills, so it ended up as a 14-6. Recon mission, I've played it a ton. This is your first time, right?
My first time.
Yeah, so that might have affected a little bit.
I think The tactical error on my part was deciding to drop the second warrior clan in.
Sorry, just a cameo here from Simon and Dave.
To drop the second warrior clan to back up the fight with the sirens here, instead of dropping a squad into each of these buildings earlier in the game.
Yeah.
That may have made a difference.
And then me putting the sirens here, he ended up tying them up and killing them, but he sort of had to do that. The Firstborn took care of business over here, but he had to put more Braves into this building because if he hadn't, when those Braves ran out and they killed the other stand, the Sirens on turn 5 could have monorailed over to here and then found another intel point, which would have given me potentially 1 or 2 more points in the mission. So it was tight. It was a really tight mission. Because he had so much infantry and so much mobility, looking at this, I thought my only chance was to push forward really aggressively, big AA screen, try to cut off the board and hem him in so that he wouldn't be able to get to all the intel on the other side of the board, and that just barely was enough to get that 1 victory point margin to win this one. And I mean, my infantry was down to 3 wounds there, so that got really dicey with the falling masonry, and that could have gone either way. A lot of cards being played and last minute stuff, but really probably the closest game I played, despite the scoreline. I was really sweating that one the whole way through. Anyway, that's round 8. I'll see what the final score is. We'll post it all online anyway. But thanks for the game. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.